If you are over 60, I want you to hear this clearly because it may be one of the most important truths you'll learn this year. There are 6 exercises the Japanese use to actually double their leg strength even after 60, and if they can do it, why can't we? Japan is the country with the highest number of people living past 100, and what surprises most Americans is that their adults, even in their 70s and 80s, continue to walk, climb, and rise from the floor with a kind of steady strength that many people here begin losing in their 50s. While in Western countries, the World Health Organization reports that most people start losing leg strength after 50, the Japanese quietly keep theirs. And when you lose that strength, you know exactly what happens. Standing up from a chair becomes harder. Climbing the stairs starts burning your legs halfway up. Walking distances you once handled easily begins to feel tiring. And worst of all, your risk of falling skyrockets. Stop thinking of decline as a part of aging. Start thinking of it as a problem with a simple Japanese-inspired solution. That is why I want you to challenge the belief that this decline is simply part of aging, because it is not. If the Japanese can maintain strong, stable legs well into their 80s and beyond, it means there is a method behind it, a system you can learn and apply no matter your age or your starting point. That is what we are going to uncover together today. Before we dive in, I want to know who I am helping. So take a moment and comment your name and the city you are watching from, because this community grows stronger every time one of you shares your story. Let's start with the foundation. Important note, if you have any pre-existing health conditions, especially with your knees, hips, back, or cardiovascular system, please consult with your doctor or physical therapist before starting any new exercise program. Always listen to your body and stop immediately if you feel any pain. The first movement the Japanese rely on is something almost no one in America thinks of as exercise at all. It is called the resting squat, and in Japan it is one of the most common positions people use to take a break. Instead of easing into a soft chair the way we do here, they lower themselves all the way down toward the ground, and their body treats that position as a natural place to rest. What makes this so powerful is that even though it feels like a resting position, it quietly wakes up every major muscle group in your lower body. Your quadriceps, your hamstrings, your glutes, and your core all stay active even when you are simply holding the pose. There is a reason. Researchers at the University of Tokyo found that adults over 70 who practice this regularly maintain leg strength comparable to people in their 50s. The position keeps your legs working in a natural way that our chair-based lives have slowly taken away from us. To do this correctly, you place your feet about shoulder width apart and lower yourself slowly until your thighs are parallel to the floor, or as low as you comfortably can while keeping your heels fully supported. Your hips may come close to the ground over time as your flexibility improves. Your spine stays in a neutral position, so you are not rounding it or forcing it stiff and straight. This simple habit change is why in just a few weeks you will feel a real change when getting out of chairs or standing up from the bed. You allow your body to settle into the posture and let the muscles do the job they were designed to do. The best part is you can fit this into your day without changing anything. I want you to practice this at moments when you naturally pause, like when you're waiting for the microwave or when you're letting the water heat up before a shower. If you are new to this, or if your legs have not moved like this in a long time, you can hold on to a sturdy piece of furniture for support and aim for just 20 seconds. Your only job at the beginning is to feel your legs working without any sharp pain in your knees or hips. If you feel any pain in your knees, stop immediately. It's better to start with a smaller range of motion and gradually go deeper over time. As your strength grows, you slowly increase that time until you can stay there comfortably for 2 or 3 minutes without support. Many of my patients try to make the position easier by letting their heels lift off the floor. And that is one of the biggest mistakes because it removes the work from the right muscles and pushes too much strain into the knees. Another common mistake is letting the back collapse and round, which tightens the lower spine and creates discomfort that does not need to be there. When you activate your core just a bit, your spine stays safe and supported, and the whole position feels more stable. What I want you to notice as you practice this is how quickly your legs begin to respond. In just a few weeks, most people feel a real change when getting out of chairs or standing up from the bed because the legs are no longer surprised by the movement. They have been trained daily in the exact pattern they need for real-life strength. I encourage you to practice this 3 to 5 times a day, short sessions, steady breathing, gentle focus. You will be surprised how much confidence it gives you as your body remembers what it was built to do. Moving on to our second pillar of stability, balance. The second exercise is one of the simplest movements you will ever do, yet it is one of the most powerful tools the Japanese use to stay mobile and independent well into their later years. It is the one-leg balance, and it may look easy at first glance, but the science behind it is extraordinary. When you stand on one leg, your body wakes up dozens of small stabilizing muscles in your ankle, your knee, your hip, and your core, the same muscles that protect you from falling when you stumble or lose your footing. These are the muscles that quietly weaken with age if we do not train them, and they are the exact muscles most conventional workouts ignore. In Japan, people build this into daily life. They practice it while brushing their teeth or waiting for the elevator. And over time, it becomes a natural part of how they maintain stability. The best part is you can do this without changing your day. I want you to tie this to a daily habit, like when you're waiting for your coffee to brew or brushing your teeth. A 10-year study following older Japanese adults found that practicing this simple movement every day reduced the risk of hip fractures by 60% and brought down the rate of falls by 40%. Those numbers are life-changing. To perform this safely, you start by standing next to a wall or a sturdy counter so you have support if you need it. Always keep your support within reach and do not attempt this. If you feel dizzy or unsteady, gently shift your weight onto one leg and lift the other foot just a bit off the ground. You do not need to raise it high. The goal is simply to let that leg float so the standing leg has to do the work. Keep your shoulders relaxed and fix your eyes on a single point in front of you. That steady gaze helps your brain organize your balance. If you are just beginning, hold the position for 10 to 15 seconds with light support and repeat it 3 times on each side. As your confidence grows, you slowly work your way toward 30 seconds and eventually 60 seconds without holding on. What makes this exercise so valuable is not only the muscle work, but the neural work. You are training your reflexes, teaching your body to react faster when something throws you off balance, and strengthening the neural pathways that keep you steady. I've seen so many people struggle because they try to lift the free leg too high, which shifts the hips and makes the exercise harder than it needs to be. Some tighten their shoulders or grip the floor with their toes, which sends tension to the wrong places. The movement should feel steady but not stiff. A relaxed upper body and a gently engaged core keep the focus where it belongs, on the stabilizers of the standing leg. Practicing just 5 minutes a day is enough to see meaningful change. It is a small daily investment that pays off in confidence every time you walk, turn, or catch yourself from a stumble. This is one of the simplest and most reliable ways to stay independent as you age, and I want you to treat it as a non-negotiable part of your routine. Our third secret comes from traditional training, giving you silent strength without the joint impact. The third exercise is the horse stance, a position deeply rooted in Japanese martial arts and respected for its ability to build strength without placing heavy impact on the joints. It is one of those movements that looks simple from the outside, but when done correctly creates a deep, steady activation through the thighs, the hips, and the core. For adults over 50, this is exactly the kind of training the body responds to, controlled, isometric, and joint-friendly. In traditional practice, the stance represents stability and grounded strength, and that symbolism matches the physical benefits perfectly because it teaches your legs to hold you with calm power. To set up the stance, you start with your feet placed wider than shoulder width, usually about 1.5 times your normal stance. Your toes can point straight ahead or slightly outward, and then you gently bend your knees and lower your body as if you are sitting down into an invisible chair. It should feel like your weight is distributed evenly between both legs instead of drifting from side to side. Your spine stays straight and your core stays lightly engaged, so your upper body feels supported but not rigid. When you find the right position, you will feel a gentle burn building in the thighs and hips, not pain, just steady effort, the kind that tells you the muscles are fully awake. And here's the good news, you don't need extra time for this. You can drop into this stance when you're waiting for food to finish cooking or while a commercial is playing on TV. For beginners, holding this stance for 10 to 15 seconds is enough to start. You can repeat it 3 times a day and slowly work your way up to 60 or even 90 seconds as your strength improves. A study in the Journal of Physical Therapy Science found that older adults practicing this posture regularly increased their leg strength by 24% in just 12 weeks. And that outcome is exactly what I see in my clinic. One of the biggest mistakes people make is letting the knees drift past the toes, which puts too much pressure on the joints and steals the work from the muscles we want to strengthen. Another mistake is keeping the hips too high, which turns the stance into an easy partial squat instead of the deep, stable position it is meant to be. When you lower yourself correctly, you should feel anchored, like your legs are forming the foundation for your entire body. And even though this exercise is generally safe for most adults over 50, you should avoid it if you have acute knee problems or any sudden sharp pain. For everyone else, this practice becomes a quiet but powerful way to build real lower body strength without the pounding or strain that comes from running or jumping. It is a lesson in patience, control, and resilience. And those qualities show up in every part of your daily life as your legs learn to support you with confidence again. Now let's shift into a practice that strengthens your body and your awareness at the same time. The fourth practice is called sampa walking, and it is one of the gentlest yet most surprising techniques the Japanese use to strengthen both the body and the mind at the same time. It is essentially ultra-slow walking, a kind of moving meditation that forces your legs, your balance system, and your nervous system to work together in a way most Americans have never tried. When you slow your steps down to a fraction of your normal speed, you begin to feel every part of the movement from the moment your heel makes contact with the ground to the moment your toes finish the step. That awareness alone builds stability because the brain finally receives clear, steady signals from the feet and ankles, something that becomes more important as we age. To practice it, you find a small space at home. Even a hallway works, and you start walking 4 or 5 times slower than usual. And the best part is you can turn this into a habit without adding anything new to your schedule. Do it on the way to the mailbox or each time you walk from the living room to the kitchen. You place your heel down first, then let the middle of your foot settle, and finally let your toes finish the step. It is almost like you are dividing one step into 3 smaller, quiet phases. Your breathing should match the calmness of the movement. So you take a deep breath every 3 steps and let your chest and belly relax instead of tightening up. The beauty of this practice is that it builds strength in the legs while also training balance and circulation. Studies in Japan have shown up to 50% improvement in blood flow to the legs and a 40% reduction in falls after older adults practice this consistently for a few months. And the reason it works so well is because slowing down forces your muscles to stay engaged longer, especially the small stabilizers that keep you upright. One mistake many people make is treating it like normal walking and letting their mind drift. This exercise only works when you pay full attention to each part of the step. Another mistake is walking too fast, which removes the meditative quality and the training effect. If you feel unsteady at first, practice near a wall or handrail. As your confidence grows, you can take this practice to larger spaces and even different surfaces like carpet or grass to challenge your proprioception. You only need about 3 minutes a day to feel the difference. It is a simple practice, but it sharpens your body awareness, steadies your balance, and restores the kind of calm, controlled movement that keeps you safe and strong as you age. Next is a movement Japanese adults do all day long without even thinking about it, and it keeps their legs young. The fifth movement focuses on the calves, and in Japanese culture, these muscles are treated with a level of respect most people in the West never consider. The calves are often called the second heart because every time they contract, they help pump blood back up toward the chest against gravity. After 60, this function becomes even more important because circulation naturally slows and the lower legs become one of the first places to show swelling, heaviness, or poor stability. Strengthening the calves is one of the fastest ways to improve how steady you feel when you walk or climb stairs, and is one of the simplest exercises you can add to your day. To perform heel raises correctly, you stand with your feet about shoulder width apart and slowly lift your heels off the ground so you rise onto the balls of your feet. As you lift, keep your body in a straight line and imagine growing taller from the crown of your head, and you can build this into your normal day. Do a set while you wait for the water to boil or when you're standing at the kitchen counter preparing your breakfast. Hold the top position for a second or two so the muscles can fully activate and then lower yourself back down with control. You want the movement to be slow and deliberate because rushing through it removes most of the benefit. If you are just getting started, 2 sets of 15 repetitions using a wall or countertop for support is a perfect place to begin. As your strength improves, you can work up to 3 sets of 20 without support. And when that becomes too easy, there are 2 progressions that make this movement dramatically more effective. You can perform the exercise on a step so your heels drop slightly below the toes before you rise, which increases the range of motion and deepens the work. Or you can switch to single leg heel raises, which immediately doubles the challenge for each calf. What I often see in my clinic is people swinging their body forward and backward to gain momentum instead of using pure muscle strength to lift themselves. That habit removes the training effect completely. Another common mistake is moving too quickly, which turns the exercise into a bounce instead of a controlled contraction. Each repetition should feel steady from start to finish. When done correctly, this exercise improves circulation, reduces the likelihood of varicose veins and ankle swelling, and makes long periods of standing or walking far more comfortable. The calves are built with mostly slow twitch muscle fibers, which means they respond best to moderate repetitions done consistently. Practicing these a few times throughout the day, even in short sessions, gives your legs the endurance and stability they need to support you with confidence. Now we move into one of the safest and most powerful strength builders for adults over 60. The sixth practice is the wall squat, and it is one of the safest and most effective ways for adults over 60 to build real leg strength without putting unnecessary pressure on their joints. It works through isometric contraction, which means the muscles are working hard even though the joints are not moving, and that combination is incredibly joint friendly. In Japan, this movement is used not only in physical conditioning, but also in traditional wellness routines, because it strengthens the quadriceps, the glutes, and the core, while training the mind to stay calm under controlled effort. To set it up, you stand with your back against a wall, and your feet about shoulder width apart, usually around 12 inches forward from the wall. From there, you slide down the wall until your knees form a roughly 90 degrees angle, as if you are sitting in an invisible chair. That 90 degrees bend is where the quadriceps really come alive. And when the alignment is correct, your knees will sit directly above your ankles and never drift past your toes. Remember the study, a 27% improvement in stair climbing. That is what this one exercise gives you. And you can make this a habit without carving out workout time. Hold this position while you are on a phone call or waiting for something in the oven. You hold the position while keeping your breathing slow and steady, because one of the most common mistakes people make is holding their breath, which increases tension and makes the exercise harder than it needs to be. Your core should stay gently engaged to support your spine, and your knees should stay aligned with your toes instead of collapsing inward. When everything is positioned correctly, you will feel a strong burning sensation through the thighs. Not a painful one, but a deep, steady working burn that tells you the muscles are fully engaged. In a study of Japanese adults between 65 and 75, regular practice of the wall squat increased leg strength by 14% in just 8 weeks, and more impressively improved stair climbing ability by 27%. That kind of change makes an enormous difference in daily life. If you are just beginning, start by holding the position for 15 to 20 seconds and repeat it 3 times a day. As your endurance improves, you can work your way up to 60 seconds. And once the basic version feels comfortable, you can add a small cushion or ball between your knees and squeeze it gently while holding the stance. That increases activation of the inner thigh muscles and adds extra stability work for the core. What I appreciate most about this exercise is that it builds both physical and mental resilience. You learn to stay steady and present even as the muscles start to burn. And that skill translates directly into better confidence and control in your everyday movements. And before we finish, here's the bonus movement Japan has embraced for full body relief and long-term mobility. The bonus exercise the Japanese have embraced over the past decade is something most people never imagined would be useful for older adults. It is the dead hang and has become incredibly popular because of how many parts of the body it helps at once. Even though it is not a leg exercise, it delivers benefits that support your whole structure, especially your spine, your shoulders, and your grip strength. When you hang from a bar with relaxed arms, gravity gently pulls your spine open, and this decompression lets the disc rehydrate and expand, relieving the pressure that builds up from years of sitting or standing. Many older adults I work with feel a surprising sense of relief in their lower back after just a few seconds of hanging. And that is exactly why the Japanese consider this practice a kind of daily reset for posture and spinal health. Another reason this exercise matters is grip strength. After 60, grip strength naturally declines, as studies around the world have shown a strong correlation between good grip strength and longevity. In other words, your hands and forearms are not just tools for daily tasks, they are indicators of overall health. The dead hang directly trains these muscles in a simple, natural way. Then there is the shoulder mobility benefit. When you let your body hang passively, the shoulder joint opens, the tight tissues lengthen, and movement becomes easier. This makes everyday activities like reaching overhead or combing your hair feel smoother and less restricted. To perform the dead hang safely, you start by finding a stable horizontal bar. Grip it with your hands about shoulder width apart in an overhand position and let your body relax into the hang. Do not pull yourself up. You simply allow your body to suspend while keeping your breathing calm and steady. And you can weave this into your day in simple ways. Do a few short hangs each time you walk past the pull-up bar you install at home or when you return from getting the mail. If you are a beginner, 5 to 10 seconds is more than enough. And you can repeat this for 5 sets with rest in between. As you build comfort and strength, you can slowly increase the time. The key is relaxation. Many people tense their shoulders or hold their breath, which works against the purpose of the exercise. You want your shoulders to drop naturally and your breath to stay deep and easy so the spine and joints can release. Avoid this exercise only if you have acute shoulder injuries, severe tendinitis, or significant spinal conditions that your doctor has warned you about. For most older adults, though, this is an incredibly effective way to regain mobility and relieve daily tension. What the Japanese love about this movement is that it also trains mental endurance. When you hang there, feeling a bit of discomfort, but staying calm, you teach your mind to remain steady under pressure. That ability carries into every part of life as you age. And even if you start with just 5 seconds a day, you will be amazed at how quickly your body adapts and how much better you feel as the weeks go by. You made it all the way to the end of this lesson, and I want you to take a moment to appreciate what that means. You just walked through 6 movements that the Japanese have used for generations to stay strong, steady, and independent well into their 70s and 80s. And every one of these practices can become a part of your own daily routine. When you repeat them consistently, your legs grow stronger, your balance becomes more reliable, and your confidence in simple everyday movements begins to return. What I love most about these exercises is the philosophy behind them. The way the Japanese blend physical strength with mental calm. Each movement is a chance to train your body and your mind at the same time, building not only muscle but resilience, patience, and control. If you stay with these practices, your body will respond faster than you think. I have seen it again and again in my clinic, and I know you can experience it too. And if you want to go even deeper into the way the Japanese build strength from the inside out, the next video on the screen walks you through 6 isometric postures that target the deepest layers of muscle in the body. These positions are simple, powerful, and incredibly effective for older adults. Watch the next video on Japanese isometric postures appearing on the screen to immediately deepen this work and unlock the 6 isometric secrets for the deepest muscles. Click the video on your screen right now. Thank you for watching, and God bless you. Commit to these simple movements and you will not just live longer, you will live stronger, steadier, and more independent.